Hello there, I'm Jimmy Vegas, and this is How to Make an RPG in Unity 5, and welcome to episode 5. So this episode, we're going to do a little bit more with our environment. So we're going to be looking at putting a bit of water in there, bringing in another tree to expand our forest a little more. We'll also be working with some more C# scripting, and we'll deal with some UI. So firstly, let's bring in this water. Now what I'd like to do is over here, I'm going to raise the terrain up just a little so it gives us enough space to add in maybe a bit of a lake and perhaps a river that runs into it. So best way to do this at the moment, if you have a flat terrain, is if we use this tool, which is paint height, let's select this particular brush and let's raise it to a height of 2. So I want the brush size to be a little bit bigger than 11, so we'll have it as about 50. We'll have the opacity also as 100, so it affects all the area permanently and at the same time, I should say. So what we'll do is let's raise the terrain all here, so you can just click, drag your mouse around all of this terrain right there. And what I'm going to do is for now just have over here maybe kind of 2 pools of water connected by a little stream. So at the moment you can see, although it's raised, it's kind of brought a bit of a bump to the terrain. So let's smooth that out. Let's select this brush here and let's reduce the brush size to about 5 and just drag our mouse over with the left click down and we can smooth the height out. We could use this brush to make it a bit more solid. So we'll do that. That looks okay. So I'm just going to do it on this little bit here. You can take as much time as you need to do, however much you need to do. So the next thing we need to do is make the indent for where the water will be. So we take this one, the raise and lower terrain. Let's take this brush, expand it to about 14, hold down Shift, and we can dig out a bit of a lake in there. So I'm going to reduce the brush size there to about 2 and make a little bit of a flowing river just here. And I'm going to make it flow into maybe a larger area, let's say about there. So now let's fill that with water. And to do that, in the asset window, all you need to do is right click, import package, click on environment. If you don't have them options available in your import package, head over to the Unity 3D website and download the standard assets. So on here, untick everything so nothing is ticked. Only thing we want here is in the environment, we just need to click on water, which is here. So you'll then import everything under water and everything under water basic. So you want these 2 ticked. Then click on import. It'll take just a second to do it. And there we go. This brings in 2 new folders down here in your standard assets, environment, and right here, water and water 4 on that. So we want, let's expand that a little bit. Let's have water. Let's go into water again, prefabs, and I'm going to use Water Pro Daytime. Just drag and drop into the scene, nice and easy. We then need to expand the size of it, and we can do that by changing the scale. So X, we can change like so. Let's change it to about 150, and Y, let's change to about 100. We then just need to position the water, so we can drag it over there, raise it up slightly. We may need to bring that a little bit thinner, so we'll change it to about 90 on the Z, and then we'll rotate to about 27 on the Y. And then we just drag into place about there. There we go. That should do the trick. So I'm just going to raise this terrain here a little bit so as it covers all our water. Let's take this and just raise it there. And then smooth out the rest. So you can take as much time as you need to create the water feature as such. And if we press play and head over there, excuse me, through our foliage here, and you can see here we have a nice looking pond, as it were, and a river running down. So that's a little bit more of our environment done for that. Now let's bring in another tree. Real simple, I'll spend a few seconds on this one. So if we go to our terrain assets, you can drag and drop tree 02, which you can head over to the website, download for free in the downloads and assets section. And same as we did with these trees, so we can recap again. On the terrain, click on the tree option, edit trees, add tree, and then drag and drop tree 02. Click on add. Let's change the tree height to be fairly tall. About there. Let's reduce the brush size, reduce the density a little, and let's have just a couple of trees scattered about there. Okay, so there's a little bit more of our environment. So next thing, let's begin with some UI. Now, a UI is commonly referred to by most gamers as heads-up display, HUD. In development terms, it's called a UI or GUI, which is a graphical user interface. In Unity, you can create one of those by going to Game Object, UI, and clicking on any one of these. So we're going to be dealing with a raw image to start off with. So let's click Raw Image. And you'll notice a couple of things appear in the hierarchy. We have a canvas, the raw image, and event system. Don't need to worry about the event system for now. We'll deal with that at a later time. The canvas is an object which kind of holds everything within the UI together. So in this case, if we double click the raw image and zoom out, we'll see that we have a white line surrounding there. This represents our screen. So whenever we play a game, everything inside this white line will be displayed on our screen, kind of overlaying whatever we see rendered from the camera. So this raw image as such will display on our screen. And at the moment it looks like it's on the bottom right side of the screen, but when we press play, it's actually on the bottom left. All that means is that we need to change our perspective, the other side of the white box, and then we can see that that is how it's going to look on our screen. Now I want this to be a heart. Since we're collecting a heart and going for a little bit of Zelda influence at the moment, let's have some hearts up here. And what we need to do is anchor this particular object to the top left. And when you have it selected, you can click here on the anchor settings and then click on top left. Now what this means is that whenever the game loads or whenever this is displayed, it will always appear however far we currently have it set from the top corner. So if we set the position as, let's say, X is 75, so 75 pixels across, and the Y as a minus 75, so 75 pixels down, it will always appear at this exact point no matter whatever size our screen is. So now let's have this as a heart. So I'm going to go to my textures folder and I'm going to bring in this heart image. Again, for free on our website, head over there, you can download it. And then all we really need to do is just drag and drop this texture onto the text option of the raw image. Drag and drop. There we go. So what I ideally would like to do is have this kind of like maybe grayed out, and then we collect a heart and then it appears. So we can do this if we click here by color, and let's see, how can we do this? Let's change it to black. And then let's change the alpha, which is this A down the bottom. So you've got your red color, green color, blue color, and then alpha. Alpha determines how transparent it is. So we want it to be translucent. So we don't want it to be completely opaque, and we don't want it to be completely transparent. We want translucency here. So let's set this to 100. You can see you can kind of see through it. It's exactly what we want at this point. So next thing we'll do is let's right click, rename, and have this as heart 01. Next, I'm going to duplicate and then drag that object onto the heart we've just duplicated. So you can see we've got a canvas, heart, heart 01, all a child of each other. Let's F2 and rename this as view heart 01. And now let's put this back color as white. And let's change the alpha back to 255. And let's also reduce the size to, let's have it as 90 by 90. Now, one great thing we can do now is, let's say that heart is too big. Let's go back to our original heart and let's change the scale and size of this to, let's say, 50 by 50. See, it's gone a little bit funny there, but that's not to worry. If we drag that out of our heart and into our canvas, you can see a couple of things here. It's not exactly changed. But what we need to do is change this to, let's say, 45 by 45, and then drag it back onto heart 01. And then we need to anchor it to the center of its parent object, in this case, the heart. So then if we put the position as 0, 0, you can see it goes to the center of the heart it's attached to, like so. So basically you always have to make sure that whatever object is attached underneath this, it is always center, like that. Otherwise it may skew whenever you press play and if your screen changes size at any point. So as I say, a bit of influence from Zelda here, so let's duplicate that and move it using this tool across. So we have a bit of a heart-based life system here. Let's duplicate again and bring it to about there. Let's rename, so heart 02 and heart 03. Let's also rename the view hearts, so that's 2 and 3. And I'm going to turn off up here in the little tick in the inspector panel, view heart 3 and view heart 2. So we have kind of see-through hearts now. So if we press play, we can see only one of them is highlighted. So we only have 1 health. So what I'd like to do now is create a script which will allow us to have this heart lit up when we collect our heart down here. So let's double click there and zoom in on this heart. So head to the script folder, right click, create, and let's go to C# script. I'm going to call this script health monitor. And I'm going to open it up in MonoDevelop. If you have Visual Studio, that's fine, not to worry. Scripts are going to be the exact same. So we're going to start in the void update. We'll come to the void start in a bit, but firstly we need to do some variables. So I'm getting rid of these little notes here, they're not important. And underneath the public class health monitor, we need to state some variables. Now this first variable is going to be slightly different than what we did last time and any other variable in this tutorial. So we're going to do public and then static and then int for integer, which will be the whole number, and then let's call it health value, semicolon. So no other variable in this script is going to be a static one. I'll explain what a static one is when we've written these variables out. So public int, and let's call this internal health, semicolon. And then we need to do the 3 game objects, which are the 3 view hearts that we have. So public game object, and this is going to be, let's call it heart 1, semicolon. So same again, public game object heart 2, semicolon, and you've probably guessed it by now, heart 3, semicolon. So the reason this is static is because we need to reference this particular variable from a different script. So later on in this tutorial, we'll be using the heart collect script we wrote last time to reference this heart monitor script so we can change the value of our health. So in the void update, which is called every frame of the game, so whenever the game's running, this script will be constantly running, we need to make internal health equals to health value. Now I'll explain why I do this when we bring our script onto an object in Unity in just a short while. So for now, make sure you have that line in. So now we need 3 if statements. We need to check if our heart value is 1, 2, or 3. So if, open bracket, health value double equals 1, so we're checking if it's 1, then we do the following. So open curly bracket, and then we need to put heart1 dot set active true in brackets, semicolon, and then close curly bracket to close that if. Much in the same way, we have a close bracket in other scripts here on the heart collect, which close, for example, the update and the onTrigger enter and the public class itself. So the same applies to an if statement. So let's copy that if statement, all 3 lines, and paste it down below and change it to health value equals 2 and heart 2. And hopefully you've guessed it, change it to 3 and then heart3.setActive true. And then save that script. So now, as it stands, we have this script constantly monitoring how much health we have and displays our hearts accordingly. So head back to Unity. And what we need to do is put this script on a new game object. So game object, create empty, F2, and let's call it health monitor. And then drag and drop that health monitor script onto there. Now you'll notice when it appears in the inspector panel that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 variables, even though we've actually put 5. This static one doesn't appear here in the component area of the inspector. That's why I have this internal health and make the internal health equals the value of our actual health all the time. So we can see here this number, what our health actually is. For debug and testing purposes, it's quite helpful. So next thing we're going to need to do is we need to change this value when we collect our heart. So let's go into the heart collect script. And when we collect our heart, it's down here on trigger enter. And what we'll do is at this point, we will, in fact, I'll put it after the play sound. And what we'll need to do is reference the health monitor script. So health monitor. And then we need to access that variable that we set. And we've called it health value. And we need to make it add 1 to it. And we can do that by doing plus equals 1, semicolon, and save. So now we just need to click on health monitor again and set these 3 hearts. So view heart 1 goes on heart 1, view heart 2 onto heart 2, and view heart 3 onto heart 3. And I'm going to save my scene there just in case. So let's press play. Make sure you have the health monitor object selected in the hierarchy. And when we go over here to pick up our heart, we should see that our internal health over here has changed to 1. Although nothing has happened with our hearts. The reason for that is because as we start the game, it believes our health is 0, and yet we already have this heart set active. So to get around that, what we'll do is on a one-off, when we start the game, we'll tell it that we actually have 1 heart. And we can do that in the void start. So the void start is something in the script which is only called once. As soon as the object that this script is attached to starts or becomes active, this script will be run and it will finish and it will do nothing else. So to get around this, we just need to do health value equals 1, semicolon, save. So let's press play on our scene now. And you can see that it's automatically changed our internal health to 1, which means our health value will be 1. So if we go over here, collect the heart, it will change it to 2, and our second heart will appear. There we go. So then, theoretically, we could duplicate that heart, bring it over here, collect both hearts, and we will have all 3 hearts lit up. There we go. Excellent. And let's save our scene. So we'll leave this tutorial there for now. Next episode, I'm going to do a little bit more environment, as I think it's probably best if we do just a little bit of environment each time. We build up our game world slowly, as well as exploring other options within the game itself. So we'll probably start building a little village. We'll start looking at quests, pick up maybe a few different items, and we're more likely to do a bit more scripting in C# because it's quite important to do scripting. It is the core of game development. So we'll see what we can do. We'll see if we can alter things. We'll start exploring different systems as well. So guys, until then, you build up your game world, and remember, all the scripts and assets are free on the website in the downloads and assets section. And yeah, just build what you can. So until next time, guys, thank you for watching.